America. But he also has to go against TSM and a team devoted around helping out that mid laner.
It was the Varus for him last week. Actually was quite on point with his arrows. They were hitting a lot of the fights and was a reason that they could start pressuring on and get the turrets down. You're fighting a team that doesn't have HP. Probably going to be able to take down their structures. Seeing some jungler and top lane bans coming out here. The Echo kind of being both as well.
Yeah, so Bjergsen showed a lot of proficiency on Echo before.
Yeah.
TSM as well, even though they felt like they've been struggling, very close games against Team Liquid and Gravity, they're at least pulling out the wins, which has always been a strength for Team Solomid in North America.
Yeah.
Even if they're not playing at the top of the game, they usually hang on to win the close matchups. But obviously this last week, Team Solomid may be under a lot of turmoil. Wildturtle's job in question as the starting AD carry. Using their first pick on Kalista.
Using the first pick on their AD carry. Wildturtle's going to get his pick. Comfort of Kalista coming into this game. A little bit of pressure is added there as well. I'm always wondering if Team Solomid would ever kind of go outside their box that they have and put Santorin on somebody like Echo and just kind of go all out for their team instead of Santorin being a facilitator for most of his lanes. It'd be interesting. You've never really seen him do something like that.
He had a couple good Nidalee games last split.
Yeah, right.
Where he was able to carry, but the jungle meta has obviously shifted with Gragas and Rek'Sai. But those are two-man junglers this game, so maybe we're going to get to see something a little bit different. Maybe he does go back to that Nidalee.
Team 8 figuring out what they can do. Usually been leaving CaliTrolz' pick up for a while here so he can get a counter on the team, something that will work against the entire fight once they get into the 5v5. Somewhere we heard on your screen Porpoise talking about Team Solomid having good mechanics there. If they can shore up everything else, definitely be a good international team.
Yeah.
Sivir comp.
Non-committal picks here, from the sense of there's already an AD carry on the other side, so the Sivir doesn't need to be picked right away. They're basically just trying to hide the rest of the things for counters. The only power pick type thing is the Annie, something Lustboy has played 3 times so far this split.
Able to get that away from him, so that will be good. Thresh is still up to make plays. Actually, a lot of options, obviously. Usually too many support bans. It may Jatt. We see Bard, Hover, Gnar, and the Azir get locked in, however, after they're switching back and forth, showing Bjergsen takes Azir right away.
Yeah, definitely a difference in methodology between these two solo lane choices being right out of the gate. Oftentimes you will see the counter picks for the solo laners wait until the last chance a team has to pick in a draft. Team 8 didn't think that there were power picks worthy in their first 2 choices, so they picked the Sivir despite an AD carry already being locked in. Team Solomid says, great, we think Gnar and Azir are both worthy of power picks. They're going to pick them regardless of counters. Pretty much the majority of the cards are already on the playing field for Team Solomid here, and Team 8 gets to choose what to play against TSM's power picks.
Dyrus has been on this Gnar now 2 games in a row already. Liquid and Gravity wins last week as they defeated them. Now for a 3rd game against Team 8. What will it be? Goldenglue has played Viktor. That was his first play with Team 8 here as they came in with him on week 4. A 1-5-2. That was a loss against Gravity, so he will try his hand at that once again. The Shen locked in as well. Seems like the Team 8 does have the chance to kind of go a little bit farther in their fights where they usually get into trouble. Maybe they have the safety they require now.
Shen making a slight resurgence since the buffs. He finally got that magic resist per level everyone's been asking about for 2 years.
The man's got a shield. He didn't need it.
But now, it's good protection for Viktor, who is an incredibly high DPS mid laner, and often needs to get close to mid-range in order to be effective. So
out here for Santorin to get something he is used to playing.
Jarvan?
Not. Still used to playing Jarvan. Can't say he's not. Obviously has put games in on that, but now it's going to be on the LCS stage for one of the first times. Rek'Sai, Gragas, and Sejuani are what Santorin has really cycled through here so far in the summer split.
Yeah.
And now Jarvan.
You know how we talked about a lot of teams having like Yasuo comps built around knockups? This is almost a Gnar comp because they have two creatable terrain spells in this game, whether it's a Jarvan ultimate or an Azir wall, in which for Dyrus to Gnar someone into and get the stun. A little bit of like the first 3 levels or so for Santorin, unless he gets a lot of help with a double jungle, will be weak. But then Jarvan still kind of turns on, can turn into a big tank, and most importantly, can create fights.
Sejuani's still up. We saw Nocturne earlier today with Gragas and Rek'Sai continuously being on the ban list, and we are going to get another Nocturne.
Classic.
Classic indeed. Going over to Porpoise. It was played once before today. Let's see if it comes up.
Classic Shen Nocturne. Shen coming in on Nocturne's back. This was a staple of TSM team compositions back in early Season 2. So Dyrus will be the only one on the team that remembers those days. But still, it's a huge threat to the bottom lane specifically. It's an instant appearance of 4 people whenever they want, which is something that TSM needs to be very respectful of. I like the choice of those picks for what area teammate wants to attack. If Turtle has been weak, attack their weakness. And that's what this comp is built to do.
You have the ability to get to him without being stopped now. We'll see if Porpoise can give Nocturne his first win of the split. Already 1 loss as it was used by Rush earlier today in the Impulse matchup versus Gravity. We're going to be jumping into this one. History Teacher and Loco Doco shake hands as they leave their teams now with their picks, and we're about to head on to the Rift. Going to be a fantastic match coming into this. I am really, really excited to see what Santorin can do on Jarvan. It's finally something kind of outside his box. It's not the Nidalee. Will it be something that can work for them?
Yeah, we got to see Gamsu's top lane Jarvan. That seemed to be really effective. I actually think the top lane Jarvan's better than the jungle Jarvan. But in this specific situation, with the 2 big ones off the board, let's make some walls.
All right, the comps are locked in, so hit Twitter, hashtag TSM or hashtag Team8Win. We'll update the fan poll in just a bit, as always. Getting into the match for our 3rd game of the day here. Let's see what these teams have for each other. It's been quite a bloodbath throughout each one. A little slow in the beginning of each game, but then somebody turns on the heat. So far, we've had some highlight plays. Maybe we'll get some more here. TSM versus T8. We're on the Rift.
Yeah. And obviously 6-2 TSM versus 2-6 Team8. So big-time favorites TSM are for this one. But we have to remember, in the spring split, the first time these teams met, it was actually Team8 that came out victorious. TSM had an early loss in the season, but that was thanks to some beautiful shockwaves by Slushy, who currently is not with the team. Instead of this Goldenglue. Different situation for sure.
Squeaking in, both teams will get the wards they want for early game control. Quick one by double if they're well timed actually grabs the majority of the team, so they know that things are out coming from Team 8 as well on their side. Looking at Turtle here, who hopes to have a good game. His stats on Kalista.
Below average so far this split. And that is through multiple Kalista games. He has played it 3 times. The big thing is the kill participation being so low. One thing that's ended up happening with Turtle, there's all these statistics about how Turtle is actually slumping this split over last split. Last split, he led the entire LCS in kills. This split, he's 18th in kills. He had the 2nd most damage per minute of AD carries last split. This split, he is actually dead last. Nien is the 2nd lowest, so not actually high-performing AD carries so far in this game. But there's a lot of things that are lacking in Wildturtle's play, and the slack has had to be picked up by the rest of TSM. I talked about the kill share stat in our last game with Doublelift, and how he had a lower kill share, around 31%, and higher kill shares in the past were 44 and 43, which is at the end of a split was the highest amount of kill share you'd have. Currently this split, Dodo's going for a steal, doesn't get it. Currently this split, Bjergsen is sitting at a 45% kill share for TSM, which is kind of an unprecedented number. It's not necessarily sustainable either, because the team does need adequate kill distribution and people to succeed in order for them to find wins. And that has been kind of the Achilles heel of TSM's losses. If Bjergsen makes one mistake, he's all of their gold distribution in most of these games because no one else has been able to find kills or generate kills with help of others. So therefore, they're not looking like the team they should be if they want to be the top team in North America.
So I kind of like seeing Santorin now on a different jungler can secure those kills for himself if he wants. Really make it work for the team instead of kind of being in the back pocket of Bjergsen all day. Dyrus as well stepping up to help that situation. I mean, it seemed after kind of MSI, TSM was more tempered. The fear of either the community or themselves making mistakes and not wanting to make those mistakes again.
Yep.
Definitely will put the guy that wants to do the DPS, Wildturtle, more in a safe position in the fights. Here, though, they could start to get him going very early, going for CaliTrolz in the bot lane. Who's going to be the first to take aggro? Santorin can flag and drag out. If it is him, it's going to be onto Lustboy. He flashes out nicely, but the whole team of Team 8 reads this, and CaliTrolz gets first blood. CaliTrolz stays alive. Dyrus goes down, and they can't get Wildturtle anything in the bottom lane. 2 go down for TSM.
Today has not been a good day for turret diving.
No, sir.
Pretty much every game we've seen, a turret dive has fallen on the other side. What a huge early game swing. If Team 8 is going to pick up a win, that is exactly the start they want to have. Kills going down to both CaliTrolz and Porpoise, the diving duo that can make Bjergsen and Wildturtle's life awful this game if they get ahead.
Who gave that guy magic resist per level now?
That's the whole reason he stayed alive, the 4 magic resist. But really, CaliTrolz, he used his taunt and flash in the right spots.
Yeah, really well
He
done.
avoided the flag and drags. TSM was never chaining CC. They didn't have enough damage. They rended early. So many things went wrong for TSM in that dive. And the collapse was on its way from Team 8. So TSM had to decide whether they were going right away or whether they were going to hold off. And now they're going to try yet another gank.
Really kudos to Team 8, the whole team there at the right time, watching the minion waves get pushed and calculating the movement.
They really want to go.
Yeah, that would have been very hard. You could see as soon as that gank happened in the bottom lane, Bjergsen almost turned on, I need to go into carry mode, and harassed Goldenglue with as many soldiers as he could. Hopefully for an opportunity like they have here, but still no kill to come of it. Unfortunate turn of events there for TSM, and can they get themselves back out of this? CaliTrolz walking up to the mid lane with aggression. Is Bjergsen actually going to respect this? The fear's going to go down. He's going to have to flash, but shifts out of the fear. Actually, that was just about to trigger. Team 8 on the roam here. CaliTrolz to mid.
Yeah, TSM getting a taste of their own medicine with 3 people who aren't the mid laners showing up in mid lane. Bjergsen has to flash back, and it gives Goldenglue a nice timing to back and buy that. Interesting how he went with the Fiendish Codex instead of upgrading his item. Maybe he didn't quite have 1,000 gold. Really having the death ray to clear the minion wave is absolutely massive. I'd love to get a replay of that turret dive, even though it's long in the past, just to see exactly how it all went wrong for TSM.
No, he had 1,000 gold when he went back, so he decided not to. He had just over 1,000, 1,008.
Interesting. Maybe Goldenglue doesn't want to quite shove the wave because of the pressure that TSM normally outputs on the mid lane.
Yep, focus on that vision, keep themselves safe. Teammates already laid down 3 pink wards on their defensive side of the map. 2 of those cover Dragon and 2 forward. So wards to make sure that Team Solomid does not get back into this through some quick ganks. Already tried on Goldenglue in the mid lane. So they matched those Fiendish Codexes, rather, in the beginning to start it off. CS had stayed even. They have been 1v1ing most of the time with the action down towards that bottom lane. We'll have to wait and see if CaliTrolz gets a quick 6 and they try to engage off of his Stand United or even the teleport. 5-4 in that lane as well, so Dyrus trying to catch back up. More towards the mid lane. Emperor's Divide misses. That was the flash from Goldenglue as well to get himself to safety.
Yeah, so still has his Ghost for defensive summoners, right? He's basically just trying to withstand this lane because he knows that the rest of his team is ahead right now. Team 8 has advantages from the Shen and from the Nocturne thanks to that very early game failed turret dive.
That was
TSM.
That was a great call on not upgrading the laser, as you were saying, because you can see he's solo targeting even minions with his laser, not pushing the lane altogether. He knows how dangerous it's going to get here for him in the mid lane.
Well, especially since we're stuck in this lane swap and no one's fast-pushing turrets, that means there's 2 roamers almost at all times on the map with the jungler and the support, so it's really important to have the proper wave control. Normally, it's actually TSM in these lane swaps, and Bjergsen can hold the wave actually a little bit on his side to make the ganks more opportune. But it just hasn't been the case this time. Goldenglue managing the wave quite well.
No, it's just not a lot of pressure. Team 8 really coming out of the gate with wards this game. Even Dodo just came out of base with 2 or 3 sight wards, his vision wards in his inventory instead of a ruby crystal and soon sight stone. So they are just littering the map right now. They have vision on TSM. They're not going to be able to do anything all game. Keep that up. Porpoise grabbing Scuttle, so they get a little bit more map control that can help them in any instances. They decide to fight on that side. And Dragon's theirs. TSM's not going to be able to do much as that's the transfer time for blue.
This is similar. A lot of similarities in our games today. This is similar to our COG game, where the failed turret dive prompts a lot of passive play on the other side. It feels like TSM is just waiting to farm this one out a little bit, but that is very dangerous against Shen Nocturne because they can combo those ults at any moment and go for a kill. Oh boy.
Combo, what did you say? Combo what? I'll take a supersized number 2 combo, thank you.
Didn't even need Shen. So that's Sivir ult, Nocturne ult. Shen is still off in the other wave. This game is going really sour for TSM very quickly. Porpoise, nice ultimate there going towards Cinderhulk Nocturne. So a couple of tanks that are going to be diving in throughout this one.
Seen a lot of Devourer and damage glass damage dealers today. Looks like Porpoise is going to be the facilitator for more fights, throwing himself right into the fire. So far it's working. 3-0. Nobody's got full kill participation, but they have been able to pretty much get those kills across the map, so somebody's been participating in something. Everybody's getting a little bit. It's not just one hard carry here, which has seemed to be working really well for teams once they have the advantage. Like you were saying earlier, with Team Solomid, one guy has all the kills, a late game mistake means you have nothing. That guy goes down. Trying to push just a little bit now that he has that blue buff. Looks like he's actually getting himself back. Maybe level up his items now. He's just at 1,000 gold. Same thing with Nien in the bot lane. Nien also having a much better game. Usually he's been targeted as well a few times. Either a flash blown and the enemy team does it again to take him down.
Yeah, and really now that we're even back in the 2v2 lanes, it's a very difficult situation for TSM to be in. It's actually on Team 8 to rotate properly, keep the advantages, make sure they're taking the dragons and setting up kills for all of the Nocturne, Shen, Sivir combos they can choose. They're the ones that get to choose the fights. It's not necessarily Santorin's Jarvan, even though that's the situation they would like to be in, because the rest of TSM is so far behind. They've suffered deaths in basically all of their solo lanes. One for Lustboy, one for Bjergsen, and another for Dyrus.
You could definitely see the Jarvan pick coming into play. Nien on the hunt, won't be able to get away. Throw soldiers in there and start chopping them up. But they cannot get close for any of these engages. Everything is started by teammate. Already with the 1,200 gold lead. TSM, though, prides themselves on the fights, or the mechanics they have in their late game fights, so probably relying on that right now and getting to that point themselves. Dyrus not doing too bad in the top lane, but also not a lead onto CaliTrolz either.
Yeah. So only 1,200 gold difference. The CS in the lanes is actually staying quite close.
Yeah.
It's very important that Goldenglue can stay safe in these fights because his damage onto the Azir can nearly one-shot him. If, after he bursts the damage, Nocturne goes to fly in to finish him off. That's one of the big differences we could have in this game about actually killing the Azir. Phoenix's Azir last game, for instance. TF could get on him, but there was no follow-up. Here, there's multiple things that can actually close onto the backline. Wildturtle hasn't been much of a threat, hasn't been able to do much damage. It's all about killing Bjergsen. And Teammate has built the composition to have target selection from pretty much anyone.
Right, unless TSM is going to be rushing those Banshee's Veils, they have no way to stop that target. And Porpoise is going to be able to do that finalizing damage whenever he wants. Setting up now to the top lane. TSM finally doing something on their own terms. He already knows. You can see CaliTrolz starting to take a step back here. Taunt could easily get him to safety, but then they use the Cataclysm, so ultimate wasted for a flash. I'm sure TSM's going to like that. Pick up some extra gold on the outside. And they may be able to pick up bottom here as well to trade it off.
CaliTrolz playing hyper safe right there. Big roam comes up from TSM. It's all about what teammate can capitalize off of TSM's investment for that flash. Pushing bottom, not really able to push mid, but it ends up being reactionary territory.
It's feel nice to be able to just build his Sunfire Cape first against that Gnar in the top lane, not taking too much damage, and now he can provide even more as he dives into the middle of the fight. Things playing in favor of Team 8 here. We said that turret was just grabbed in the bottom lane. See if Wildturtle can stay safe in this instance. I don't think he'll be getting dove. Mid lane also has to be careful. Teammate now trying to deny resources on the side of Team Solomid. They're losing a bit of control of their jungle. Oh, got him. So first gank from Team Solomid, unsuccessful to the top lane. Santorin's Jarvan not providing too much. Still early in the game. 1 minute onto Dragon will kind of tell us how things will flow for the next few minutes onto this one, especially if it's uncontested. TSM usually is okay with letting a few of those go. We'll have to see as the game goes on. Being behind is kind of a different story.
Yeah, they are really just hoping that teammate makes a mistake. Once again, having a turret dive go that badly, that early into the game, is just a tremendous blow to a team's ability to contribute in the early or mid game. TSM invested 4 people down by the bottom turret, whereas teammate only invested 3, and it is teammate that walked away with first blood and an extra kill. That is tremendous. Not only did that give the Shen and the Nocturne advantages, it also gave the 4th member of teammate who wasn't there an advantage over TSM. So across 3 or 4 different avenues, it gave teammate an edge, and it's all about how they can capitalize on that advantage.
Well, it could be a great time to do that. Dyrus just ran out of Gnar. While teleports are up, it would be a lot easier to fight right now. The Dragon could be the reason they're about to go at it. Lustboy wants to get himself into position for some hooks here. My eyes definitely on the AD carries for the time being. Bottom lane as they move their way up. Looks like they will be there for the fight, but Wildturtle may not be when his team needs him here if there's a fast engage.
Yeah, this will be tricky. How willing is teammate to start the Dragon and peel off of it with Nocturne and Shen? It's going to be very close. They just go right away.
Right to Bjergsen. That's the backline we were talking about. He spell shields the Emperor's Divide, actually. They get through. Santorin tries to block everybody. He's helping on the backline, but it's going to be Bjergsen that goes down. Turtle's hitting CaliTrolz, but he's got that Sunfire Cape already, doing hardly any damage, chipping away at the brick wall. Teammates forced to watch Cali go down as Turtle gets a double kill. Unfortunate there. A very chaotic fight.
Very heavy dive, but once CaliTrolz made it through to finish that, there was no damage follow-up behind because Dyrus was actually zoning off a lot of people there. Teammate continues to stay on this Dragon. That's a little dicey. Porpoise low on mana.
Still got Goldenglue coming in. Chaos Storm, his ultimate is down, but the laser is still able to poke them off here. I don't think anybody's coming over. Wildturtle going to throw the arrow in just a little too late. Porpoise picks up Dragon. And the pressure pays off here for Team 8. 2 Dragons now, and they're keeping that 1,000 gold lead. See this one more time.
Yeah, this was Porpoise going in at about half health, so he's a little low. And it's the shield. Nocturne Shen combo right there. He had his spell shield up when the Emperor's Divide came through, so CaliTrolz gets in. That's the repeated dive. It was a Viktor ultimate, a Nocturne ultimate, and then a Shen ultimate, basically all used for the purpose of killing Bjergsen. That doesn't leave anything up for Wildturtle and Dyrus, who need to be the backup carries in order for TSM to succeed. Turtle gets the double kill.
Yeah.
And eventually they were low enough, the teammate got the Dragon. So honestly, a pretty close trade there. 2 for 1, but a Dragon on the side of teammate.
Definitely difficult to call that fight. If CaliTrolz were to walk back in the river, would it have been continued? Or would a Santorin been able to lock everybody up? Very, very tight here, just 16 minutes into the game. Teammate did come up with the Dragon. They also lost 2 members to losing Bjergsen on that one, and Wildturtle starting to get going. That first pick of Kalista over on the side of TSM here for the AD carry that they are wavering on. Seems to be doing well so far. 30 CS down from that lane, from everything that was happening with the back and forth, though, in the early game. He is a few items behind. He's sitting on some gold right now. Actually, yeah, he's sitting on 2,000 gold.
Yeah, he will go back and he gets an early Hurricane, I think. Yep. Ooh, that's not what he wants. Turtle, no. Don't leave the base with 2 Vamp Scepters. Uh-oh.
Turtle!
No.
No! Oh, boy. All right, then. Got him.
He's going to have a lot of lifesteal, for one.
Right.
And he will be able to upgrade both of those into the main items. Blade of the Ruined King and Bloodthirster.
Maybe he knows. He just did it.
The lifesteal is not unique on Kalista, and he does need to be able to lifesteal off of Shen and Nocturne. Those would be the justifications, but I'm not buying it. It's definitely, he should be going Blade of the Ruined King second item against 2 health tanks, Shen and Nocturne, that are going to be diving in on him. So I think a shopping mistake just happened from Wildturtle. It's going to delay his Blade of the Ruined King by 800
Maybe
gold.
he's a bulk buyer.
You don't get a discount for buying 2.
He's a member of Costco.
Vamp Scepter now only 700 gold if you buy 2.
Yep. Things we don't know on the caster desk. We'll see if it helps him. It'll keep him alive for a little bit longer, that's for sure, with the sustain he's got. So it doesn't hurt in that sense, extra damage. Top lane, however, getting beaten down now. It looks like the turrets will start to fall a little bit more once Team 8 can get this one down and mid. Open up the map and start getting these wards pushed forward. Already making sure they're not getting flanked here. Bottom lane still going back and forth. That CS is very, very close. I'm really excited. Both tanks are going to be able to provide in these fights. We already saw how drawn out they were before, so it's going to definitely come down to mechanics.
A lot of it will also come down to how well Nien can contribute, because yes, they have 2 big tanks diving through, but because Porpoise is going full tank Nocturne, he's not going to be a damage threat. Shen is a late game damage threat, especially if he doesn't build an offensive item, which it doesn't look like CaliTrolz is going for. Really feels to fall off from a damage perspective late on in the game. Oh!
That was pretty big. Even though it doesn't go to Bjergsen, that's still...
Stole the life of the blue buff with his second Vamp Scepter.
Yep, got it. That's
now he's got it. Beautiful. That's nice. That's another investment by Team 8 to try and get a blue buff for no real gain. Stolen away by Wildturtle. And the stall out will probably continue until the next dragon. That's the main way that Team 8 is drawing TSM out of their lanes.
TSM starting to feel like they have control over the map here as they push their wards forward. There were a lot of pings going in as soon as Dodo walked into that area just a few seconds ago. Seems like they were not able to get any grabs. But they want it. Now playing off this blue buff. I don't think Lustboy is going to be doing too much. He does not take the death leap, but Dodo does right onto him. Lustboy goes down and the team's forced to run.
Wow, they burned so much for that kill on a support. I don't know if that's actually worth it. Dyrus can make an escape. TSM might get 2 turrets off of this.
Well, they got to call him back down to the mid lane. Like you said, Jatt, TSM might get 2. They stop Nien and CaliTrolz in the bot here. And it looks like it will be enough for TSM to push through. I don't know if it's enough to get onto the turret. They go ahead and clear this up with the safety of Bjergsen's turret. Looks like they'll make their way back home.
4 total summoners and 3 ultimates burned by Team 8.
For Lustboy.
And they end up losing 2 turrets for a support kill. That's actually a swing in the favor of TSM, even though they suffered a casualty. And looking at the gold, the game is actually now very close. Not to mention the map control that was lost by Team 8 in that last fight. They'll need to have a big team fight win in 1 minute when the dragon comes up, and it will not actually sync with their Shen Nocturne combo. The Shen Nocturne combo will come up 25 seconds after this next dragon. So a big investment for just poor timing in general on Team 8's side.
Well, this could also be a moment where Team 8 gets themselves into a bad situation if CaliTrolz still tries to teleport in, not having that stand united. This is where it comes down to it. The time we say Team 8 might make the wrong call or not. Do they go too deep? Could be in 26 seconds. TSM is setting up the vision. They already have a bit of it from the last fight right now. Just off to the side. Even in danger, they're trying to get the wards that they need to make this work in their favor here and give them a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah.
Kalista farming her face off. Wildturtle getting everything he wants in that bottom lane. He actually has a BF sword as well, so a little bit of damage now to go with that attack speed.
Very nice scrying orb there by Nien. Also, if Team 8 just waits another 15 seconds or so while there's a dance in the top lane, they get their ultimates up. So this is very advantageous for Team 8. They're going to have Sivir ultimate. They're getting all of them back up. And at this point, they would be able to jump on a Kalista that doesn't have flash. But they're starting a little bit before their ultimates are even up.
Gotta make sure they aren't standing near each other. Dive in. That's going to be Porpoise getting it. Nothing's going to come from Santorin on that one. And they are to safety. Lustboy gets thrown out. The flash coming from Goldenglue. Porpoise actually wants that one. Here comes Stand United, but there's no mana. A little bit of miscommunication, possibly, if they could catch one member, but it just fizzles out.
Up top.
Teleport back to the top lane. Now he's going to have to handle this one. If there's a fight in favor of TSM, Dyrus has that TP advantage.
Oh, Shen, burning ultimate and teleport, just hopping all around the map. Whoa! Lustboy.
Oh, boy.
There's a ward here. This is unswept. There's no pink wards. This is TSM hoping that it's not checked. It's checked. They're going to back away.
Yeah. Porpoise may not have mana, but you don't need mana to smite the Baron away in a 50-50 instance. And TSM chooses the right thing.
And we should mention, as an aside, Porpoise's main champion used to be Nocturne. It's actually something he really loved to play all throughout Teammate's qualification process. Way back in the day, he played Nocturne in a lot of the Challenger series when Teammate was there.
That's true.
And as it comes around a little bit in the meta, if they're banning out Gragas and Rek'Sai, something he really knows how to maneuver and when exactly to use the Nocturne ultimate for vision control or when to do the full dive in. So it's nice to see him pulling out kind of a classic pick like this and then start quite well. Full tank for his decision as well this game so he doesn't get blown up. We'll see if it pays off. I'm not sure if they have enough damage to close down on Wildturtle or Bjergsen when they jump in.
Could be difficult. The game has been played safe for now. And that communication is sticking with Team 8. Hardly any kills on their side. They have 5 against Team Solomid, and definitely not the vote in their favor. But they're still doing their damnedest here to keep themselves slightly in the lead.
I feel like those people aren't using their heads 100%. I feel like there's some fans voting in that one.
Maybe like
90% on TSM.
90-10.
Yeah, 90-10. I mean, they're only down 800 gold. That's basically a 90% win, right? Although, if you look at the team's strategic history and ability to close out close games, TSM would be the favorite right now because they've been able to equalize this a little bit. However, when you also look at the 3 dragons and the early start, this game could very easily go either way. Maybe Teammate's the favorite as well. Not to mention all the comfort champs that Porpoise has with Nocturne.
Like you're saying, though, if history repeats itself, TSM finds a fight where everybody walks away with 80 HP, and Bjergsen's got a triple kill somewhere around 50 minutes.
There's a chance. 0-2-2 from Bjergsen so far, and every ult is being used to just go for him.
Yep.
Very hard for Bjergsen to be involved in these fights.
They tried really hard to shut down Goldenglue in the middle, or rather early part of the game. And now shutting him down through stealing his resources. TSM, this is where it gets methodical for them. They have the room to start getting in the face of Teammate. They're not even afraid to move up their wards, and Teammates starting to give a little too much respect here to that. Yeah. Letting things go down without any contest.
TSM with the turret advantage, and this is another thing about having the full tank Shen. He can't push against Gnar at any point. So Teammate is almost always going to be on the back foot until they force a fight with Nocturne, and then since Dyrus is always at their turret, either Dyrus teleports into match, or he just kills the turret. Black Cleaver can cut through a lot of that armor pretty well.
Right. Noticing that build. A little different from CLG Zion Spartans last game. Now choosing to go for the Frozen Mallet. Back and forth, CaliTrolz just taking damage. This could hurt them if the fight actually gets engaged here to the top side. A little low on energy. And may not be ready to get the right Stand United in. Teammates scrambling to get wards down here. Let's see if they can start to repair these mistakes that have allowed Team Solomid into their base. Lustboy looking for the hook that could start this fight off. And right over to Dodo. They let Porpoise pass by in the bait, and they're able to completely take down the support. No anti-flash coming in on this one. And Team 8 also uses On the Hunt to get to safety.
Whew. Taste of Shurima right there for Dodo coming from Bjergsen.
A little salty.
Little oopsie on Santorin's ultimate afterwards. No one was ready to follow that up. But instead, Dyrus is going to pressure the other turret while they go for Baron. This is a hard to steal Baron because Porpoise has no flash and no ultimate. I think we're seeing a fight here.
Coming in on the Stand United. They're not going to try to go for Baron at all. Fate's Call has already gone out. Porpoise is just walking around like a statue. He didn't even have any mana to go into that fight. Team 8 was going in completely for the 50-50 steal, and TSM baited him right into it.
Yeah, and the Azir puts a tremendous amount of Baron pressure down, plus Kalista. They kill it fast and secure it, so Team 8 has to fight them before the Baron's down.
Boomerang doesn't go towards Baron. It's trying to take down Bjergsen. They're looking for Baron to fight with them here. Dodo flashes in though, he's the one taking it. He needs to back up. Baron just killed Dodo along with Wildturtle. A huge mistake in the fight, and Wild's gonna try to finish this one off. The Ren might keep Goldenglue in range. The Summoner heals there. A few more shots. Martial Cadence doesn't put Turtle in range, and neither does the arrow. But Team 8 runs out of that one hurting.
The game swings back into TSM's favor now. They have the gold lead, the Baron, and some turrets. There's a few little things the Turtle could have done to get the kill in that last fight, but he stayed on the Baron, safely secured it for the team while the fight was happening, so TSM wins the fight, takes the objective.
What a crazy way to fight, especially for Wildturtle to decide it's a team fight. I think I'll stay in the Baron pit.
Yeah, 4-0-1 so far from Turtle, but this time it is a 4v5. There is an Annie already gone in this fight. Porpoise also had no ultimate, no flash, so a very sloppy engaged teammate was never really committed to going in. Goldenglue could burst Lustboy, but then the fight continues, and teammate really wants to stop this from happening, so therefore they go all the way into the pit. They're thinking maybe if they burst out Turtle, they can stop the Baron, but he's full health with Bloodthirster and an extra Vamp Scepter, so that's never really going to happen. Secure Ren, and then he couldn't quite get the kills.
Whoa! We're back in it, baby. It's a fight already. Take that fight, and it looks like teammate got caught just entering their own jungle. Team Solomid still trying to deny resources, and this fight's going coast to coast, out of the jungle and into the base almost. The gravity field keeps them at bay, but Team Solomid, they only needed a bit of room that showed them they had the lead, and then they just suffocated Team 8 from there on out.
Yeah, they were stalling a lot of the early game after that tremendous error on the early turret dive. So just trying to grind this one out as best as they can. They made that one move. Now Dragon will be respawning. If they get their first Dragon of the game, then they're pretty much in the clear for this one.
This is a complete vice versa from last game. Turret dive, everything goes wrong. Turret dive, this game they repaired the situation. Because you can look at one and the other and figure out what not to do and what to do here. Team Solomid doing the right stuff. Turtle 4-0-2 on that first Kalista pick for the team out of Champion Select as we hit 30 minutes.
Yep, just weathering that early storm, and now the damage dealers of Team 8 aren't quite where they need to be.
Oh boy. Okay, they are really dedicated to trying to take down Dyrus right now. Even after the team disengaged, they thought Tibbers would be the good thing to do. A little bit of miscommunication here from Team 8 as they try to kind of squeeze out a few kills. The rest of the team not on the same page.
Yeah, maybe they thought they'd get the mid lane turret, but...
Yeah, that's true. Hit that, and Bjergsen may not be able to stay.
It's been a very unfortunate year for Team 8. 2-6, if they don't fall this one, they're 2-7. This is the fight that happened while we were in our last replay. So Nien warded out in his own jungle, did not flash to the other side of the wall, so instantly killed.
Getting super stuck.
Yeah, and then it's literally just a team that is so far ahead versus a team that has no damage potential. It's just Viktor right now. The full tank Shen, the full tank Nocturne. No threat to stop TSM from running through them. Teammate needed to snowball substantially off of that early lead, and they could not do that.
With the way they had the lead, they never had their lanes prepped. They never had a chance to win a fight and take something down, never grab a turret. Seems like TSM always has that in their favor. They leave themselves a few rooms to make mistakes, even while being behind somehow.
Yeah, even if this is a win for TSM, it's going to be another win that they're just not satisfied with because of how poor the start was. Giving up multiple kills, giving up the first 3 dragons of the game. Definite scare, but now they're in full control 31 minutes in.
I agree with them to an extent, but the way the games go, it comes down to pretty much, oh ma, I got a 98 on the test. You still won the game pretty handily. Let's see if they could do that once again. Mikhail's Crucible, if anybody gets into a scary situation, coming now from Lustboy, so TSM has a lot of options to work with here if they get a bad engage. If Dodo gets into the spot he needs to. Flash, Tibbers is up for him along with Talisman of Ascension, so they can easily get into range with a double up of On the Hunt and 2 Randuins to keep everybody in range. There's one. Wildturtle's the caboose of this train, and it looks like he may get hit. He actually gets popped back. does not take the Lantern because the fear hits him up halfway through. They're going to keep going on for this fight. TSM is kind of stuck in a choke point right now. A nice Emperor's Divide will cut off that pathway, and teammate actually has to head back home. Dyrus wasn't even in this fight when they lost Turtle for his first death. He's taking the inhibitor.
Dyrus decided to not teleport in for the team fight. That was a full disengage play from TSM. Turtle does go down to all the ultimates, but they get a big chunk out of that top turret.
Oh. Takes the Lantern. 1 in a million. So TSM pick up a little more ground and definitely have teammate on the run from what we've been seeing. 32 minutes in, they start to control it with so many options. Baron's going to be up in 1:30, and they already have the wards to cover that. So it's up to Team 8 here to find a way in. What way can they make a fight happen?
Yeah, well, basically like we saw in the jungle, they need to synchronize their ultimates, they need to pile on to one target, finish him off, and then hope the rest of the stuff doesn't kill him. If in an ideal world, Dodo can get a double stun on Wildturtle and Bjergsen, CaliTrolz can get a double taunt, and that would give time for Goldenglue to come in and actually combo both of them. I feel like if teammate only combos one, they won't have enough damage to take down TSM, who's building towards a triple threat composition. Dyrus with Black Cleaver, having the Azir, and also the 4-kill Kalista.
Teammates still have their own options. They can do home guard teleport instead of a stand united teleport into these fights as well. Things will happen.
True.
Even small enough to take TSM off guard and kind of see the fight differently. Maybe their way in. So far, it's only been teleports onto Porpoise once he's going into the fight. Looks like they may be taunting TSM here into something they want. But they'll bite. TSM feels stronger.
Very, very tanky Santorin right now at this point in the game as well. Say full tank Jarvan operates better than full tank Nocturne, generally speaking.
They're going to run the lane. They're timing the inhibitor for coming back up right now.
Yep.
Nicely played.
Right there in time, but home guard boots do exist. Here comes teammate.
Might get it. Bjergsen's already put a soldier back for shifting sands. He gets himself to safety. So not all the damage they wanted on the inhibitor, but they do remove teammate from a dangerous position on the map and having forward control of that Baron pit. And now TSM has the goal side that they want. Porpoise just on the edge. Good thing he floats.
Yeah, and big thing here is Nien taking about half his health. Luckily, he has a Vamp Scepter to start healing some of it up. The waves are actually pushed against TSM right now. It would be great if teammate had CaliTrolz in one of those lanes. He could even burn his teleport to go to one of those lanes right now and then just pressure it while still having the stand united. That would force TSM into a Baron decision. But as of now, TSM isn't being punished for those giant waves.
Dodo, a little Fiendish Codex for him as well as he builds up to his items, so a little bit more damage for him. CaliTrolz is actually taking a pretty significant amount of damage just from a few hits in the Ren there of Wildturtle, so everybody's going to have to be careful. Porpoise tanky in his own right here, so he can sustain or stand a little bit more. Not looking good though. Teammates always starting these fights very low in HP.
Dragon 4 is actually something the teammates in position for though. They can burst it down really quick.
Good decision. Definitely puts a timer 6 minutes onto Team Solomid, so aspect of the Dragon cannot be a thing. I like what teammates doing here. They really give themselves an option on the table. And Team Solomid, they might work now knowing that Dragon went down. They weren't sure with how much vision they've lost in the bottom. Were they about to get flanked? No. Dragon was being done. And Team Solomid, you can see him not happy with that.
Definitely not. Despite getting that one inhibitor down, the game is kind of stalled around this Baron pit. They don't have the pick required to necessarily start the Baron super safely. But maybe they just go for it with the pink ward inside.
Turtles and Santorin. They trade each other back and forth.
Yeah, this will stack up more and more Rens, which makes the Baron easier and easier secure. And Bjergsen's actually zoning right now. Look how low Porpoise is. That basically secures the Baron unless it's a Miracle Steal.
They have to know.
Scrying Orb is down as well, so they can't Scrying Orb to get the Nocturne in.
Nope.
Baron for TSM.
They give it up. That's the two-man Baron Wildturtle with the Blade of the Rune King and a Bloodthirster able to sustain and marshal cadence back and forth to take some hits for Santorin. Very nicely done. Team Solomid getting all the control they want step by step without losing too much of what they've gained. Looks like they're back on the inhibitor turret in the mid lane. It only took a little bit of time. And again, they cannot get it to go down. Looks like that one's going to be the stalemate for a little bit until these waves come in from the side lanes.
And they definitely have to respect Nocturne and Shen. Maybe this comes down to even a dragon fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Another 5 minutes or so.
It's also about 2,000 gold sitting on Bjergsen. He's trying to farm up to buy a death cap straight up, which would then really explode his damage in this game. Wildturtle nearing max item Kalista as well, which makes it a fearsome task for CaliTrolz and Porpoise to cut through him.
Yeah.
Having the double lifesteal and the last whisper against 2 armor stacking tanks. This is the point of the game where the AD carry fights back, because he's now able to kill the tanks as they dive him in. With double lifesteal, unless they actually get more support, they probably can't even kill Turtle.
So close to the death cap. He's going to wait on the gold. He is. He's waiting in base for the gold, and he just gets it. Come flying out now, so it has been finished by Bjergsen. His power ramps up in these fights. Dyrus getting that bottom wave push. We were talking about how little janitorial duty needed to be due on TSM's lanes, and it's going to be a much, much harder push to stop for Team 8 here when they're going to be spread thin across all 3 lanes.
The main win condition for Team 8 would be that 5th dragon, but how can they actually get out of their base to prep the dragon and probably get a pick? They need to initiate onto the right target. And yeah, just have Nien like try and run out of the base.
Solo mission
next to the dragon.
It'll be tough.
Not gonna happen.
Not something that looks like is in their near future. Dyrus already able to push the bottom turret in.
I really like what Dyrus has been doing this game. Just solid split push pressure the entire match.
Flash doesn't hurt. They don't know which way to turn right now. Too many things going on inside the base, and Team 8 still needs to stick together for power and numbers here. Once they're separated, Bjergsen can zero someone out and push the other side out with Emperor's Divide.
Whoa.
On the hunt for Dyrus. It's going to take him forever to take that down. Definitely longer than that inhibitor's life. So that's going to go down to the top side, and TSM are just making moves off the ball right now and coming up very big.
Yep, that is another inhibitor defending turret down. There's no Sivir ult for an initiation. They would have to just kind of brute force one in, but even then they're going to lose more. Bjergsen even exposes himself and Team 8 not willing to pull the trigger. They're getting a slow bleed out of this game.
That's that hesitation. We hear so many teams talking about that evil that starts to set in when you may still be communicating, but nobody wants to make the call to do something. Looks like Team 8 is now on the back foot. One last engage. They go straight for Wildturtle. He's going to cleanse immediately, so the fear's going to lock on, but nobody else is with him. Zarima, the Emperor's Divide, rather, going to stop the gate, and they are in the base. Not looking perfect for Team Solomid, but looking just good enough to finalize the kills. Bjergsen takes about 50% of his HP from one laser in the explosion. He goes down. Nien finds the kill, but Nien's too close and finds himself in the ground as well. CaliTrolz may be able to hit the fountain, but TSM going to be on the Nexus. That's the double kill for Wildturtle. 7-1-2 coming off a wavering position that may solidify his spot there. Looking a lot better. 14-10 as we get 40 minutes into the game. TSM always knew they were going to win, and they do come up with the win over Team 8.
Very important for Wildturtle that he got 7 kills in this matchup, but it was still a sloppy game from the start for Team Solomid. But to their credit, they fought back after giving up early double kill, being down 3 dragons to 0 and 4 dragons to 1 at various points in the game. But still, they win with a 10,000 gold advantage at 40 minutes.
It's kind of that TSM mentality. We're behind, we can still win. It's not a problem. It doesn't even feel like we're behind. And we kind of saw that as soon as they started taking blues, rotating around Team 8, and Team 8 didn't want to approach it. What happened at that point for Team 8? Not that you have to answer it, but they had all the engages before, they just got scared.
Honestly, a lot of it had to do with hesitation. I think we're also somewhat underplaying the fact that Goldenglue is a substitute on this team. They're used to playing with Slushy, so a lot of the differences in this team.
That's a very good point.
Plus, this has just been a less decisive Team 8 this split than last split. CaliTrolz appears to be in the midst of a very large slump. Nien hasn't really provided the shot-calling solidness for Team 8 throughout, so even with an advantage, Team 8 just never really knew when to go for it. And ultimately, TSM played pretty clean after they had their deficit, not giving that many opportunities for Porpoise to go in with Nocturne.
And during TSM's deficit, I talked about this a little bit in the game, they're always doing things that makes the deficit a little less, whether it looks like it or not. then come the fights when they do lose and fall behind a little bit more, the good things they were doing, like pushing their lanes, keeping their buffs on themselves, and maybe they went down for the fight, teammate wasn't able to push one turret after a fight. They got those in the laning phase and then never again.
There was a really huge moment in this game when Lustboy died in the jungle of Team 8, but Dyrus killed the turret in the bottom lane, and Bjergsen killed the turret in the mid lane.
Right.
It was that 2 turret for 1 death exchange that just kept the gold close and maintained the map pressure for TSM, which is ultimately what they were able to hold on to win.
At one point, you can almost hear their comms. It's like, that was a great trade. We're okay here, guys. Keep it up. You know, and that confidence allowed them to keep pushing forward. Confidence and hesitation have kind of been the plus and the minus for today. And we've definitely seen the hesitation just eats away at a team immediately, whether you have a lead or not.
And now, because of the CLG defeat and the TSM win, that means the game tomorrow is for first place, yet again.
Well, I like it. And ALCS, as we hit the backside of the split, we're going to have some more first place go-ats. Go-ats. It's not even...
Go-ats. They're going to go at it.
They're going to go at it. Rivisms. For the lowdown on that match, we're going to go